I've recently come back from a trip to Israel with Rebel, and some of you might know from some of the videos I put up. Now, you know what? I found some of the reactions from some of my friends and relatives, Muslim ones, quite interesting, to say the least. Now, several have openly harassed me for visiting, equating entering Israel as support for Zionism and being anti-Palestinian. Now, I'm not entirely surprised, but how virulent it's been at times was a little affecting. Now, I can get away with it a bit more because I'm not holding myself up as some perfect Muslim. Far from it, I'm not even religious. But my experience is hardly isolated. Now, some of you might know a writer by the name of Wajahat Ali. He's an American guy. I discovered him recently. He writes widely, including the New York Times or the Atlantic. He's hardly a conservative, but he did visit Israel recently too, and he interacted with Jewish settlers on the West Bank. Now, it was with a program by a group called the Shalom Hartman Institute, and it's Muslim Leadership Institute. Basically aims to engage Muslim leaders and Jewish thinkers. So what happened after he came back? There were campaigns against Wajahat Ali, blocking him from several speaking gigs at major Islamic conferences, including one of the Council of American Islamic Relations, which is one of the biggest representative groups. There's also the Islamic Society of North America, and they wrote him an interesting letter outlining their reasons for cancelling his support. I'll give you a couple of lines. Our Muslim speakers are expected to support broadly our values as a unifying Islamic organisation. And to go on, there's perhaps no more unifying and exemplary part of our community than our support for the Palestinian people in their struggle against dispossession and occupation. So that's what just visiting Israel meant to these guys. It was a real act of traitoring, if you like. What's interesting that the Israel-Palestinian issue is really more about territory often. So why should it be such a big deal about being a Muslim? Why? Because one of the big tensions about being a Muslim living in the West is whether to prioritize national identity versus being a Muslim first and foremost, and its connection to the wider global Islamic community known as the Ummah. Now, in this case, it seems impossible to have varying views on what is, in many respects, a non-religious issue, because it's seen as the ultimate case of Muslims being oppressed by Western enemies, underwritten by the great Satan that's America. Now, this is one of the key grievances many Muslims have when they develop more extreme views. Their perception that Muslims are being mistreated right around the world, and the reasons are because of their religion. So a Muslim in Canada, America, Britain, taught to feel a deeper connection with someone from a country you might not have much to do with, more so than their neighbour, who might be white. I'd also argue Muslims don't work nearly up when Muslims are being killed by other Muslims, say in Syria, ISIS, Pakistanis. In a humorous but unfortunate aside, my namesake, another Tanveer Ahmed, a Pakistani shopkeeper, did exactly that. He drove several hours to murder an Ahmadi Muslim for being essentially the wrong kind of Muslim. So the anger is usually about who they might see as the oppressors and whether they fit neatly into their categories of good and evil, a trend that happens right across other strains of identity politics, as you'll know. Now, in this case, I'm of the view the more we talk to and humanise each other, the better off we'll all be. On my recent trip, I got a much more complex flavour of the issues they faced in Israel and the struggles of Jewish people. However, some people on the trip had quite anti-Muslim views. And really, after they spoke to me, they developed their own more nuance, if you like. Now, I don't know Wajahat Ali, but I wish him well and can very much identify with his experience. There's no such word for it, but both him and I guess, would fall into the category of self-hating Muslims, much like self-hating Jews. I'm Tanveer Ahmed. If you like this video, subscribe to Rebel Media.